Hi, I'm Becky from Urban Lotus Yoga. So today I wanted to look at what makes a warrior. So I guess growing up at school I taught a warrior is someone who fights, right? Someone who goes into battle with the intention to win. Someone who's brave, someone who's fierce. I guess this is what we grow up with, right? Now, personally, myself, I grew up in two really different worlds. I've got my mum's side of the family, who were all really high achievers. My granddad was a head teacher, my grandma was a deputy head, my mum's a teacher herself, and now my sister, and my brother's training to be a vicar. So I come from part of a world that is really successful, people who've worked hard all their life to achieve. And I've really had this notion instilled upon me from a young age. Then I have my dad's side of the family that's completely different. I mean, my dad really struggled in life. He had a lot of anxiety, which led to him drinking, which became an addiction, which eventually took his life. And I guess having these two contrasts in my life really kind of made me really determined at a young age to fight. I didn't want to be like my father. I didn't want to have his anxieties. So in this sense, I feel like I became a warrior from quite a young age. I was determined to be like my grandfather. I mean, he instilled so much courage within me and inspiration. I mean, I was fascinated by his stories when I was little. He came from a coal mining town in Yorkshire. His dad died down a mine when he was 8 years old. He told me he had no shoes, like he had to walk for miles. And I always remember one story where he said he stood on a bomb one day and an hour later it went off. He lived through a war. In my eyes, that made him a superhero to me. But I guess because I was so kind of proud of him and in awe, I kind of grew up with this false notion that my outward success would equate to his love, and that if I didn't succeed, if I wasn't someone, then he wouldn't love me. So it made me determined to succeed. I mean, I fought my way through school, through college, through university. I always believed there had to be a fight, because if there isn't a fight, you can't be a warrior, right? I was totally wrong. One of the biggest lessons I've learned so far is that to be a warrior, you don't necessarily need to fight. Sometimes it's the people who choose silence instead of words, compassion instead of hate, and who give up their own lives, happiness and dreams for the people that they love. These make the greatest warriors of us all. People like my mum. Growing up, I gave my mum a really hard time. I mean, maybe I blamed her for the absence of my father. Then my stepfather was quite violent, and we moved house a lot. We were always in different cities. So I guess in a way I blamed my own loneliness on her. It took me a long time to turn this around and actually see my mum as a hero instead of a victim. I mean, my mum left a violent marriage to protect her children. She went back to university when we were little to give us a life, to set an example, so she could support us. My mum's a warrior. In fact, she's one of the most fierce people that I know. And I guess I never really tell her. Because I guess sometimes we just look at our side of the story, rather than seeing it from someone else's perspective. But looking back, she was really, really brave. And she continues to be really, really brave. I mean, my grandma, who was one of my best friends, died a couple of years ago. And after my granddad had a stroke, and my mum's given up her life for them. Her and her husband moved into my grandparents' house. They gave up their own house. I mean, my mum works full time as a teacher, but she goes home every night and cares for my granddad. They give up a lot of their weekends, social life, holidays. And even for a long time, I still had a negative attitude towards my mum because she cares for my granddad. It means that I don't get to see her. Not as much as I'd like to. And for a while I kind of assumed that because she isn't as present in my life, it means she doesn't love me, and this isn't true. She still loves me exactly the same. It's just she's chosen to take on these responsibilities. She's constantly fighting to protect the people that she loves. So I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is that it's sometimes the people that we argue with and judge the most that turn out to be the greatest warriors of them all. And that sometimes we need to look at their journey instead of our own, and the sacrifices that may have been given to change your life. Try changing your language. When you treat someone like a victim, they're always going to be a victim. So maybe start trying to see them as a hero. Someone who survived instead of failed. Someone who didn't give up. And then maybe you'll find that this real fierce and kick-ass warrior exists within them that you didn't even know about. I just wanted to say how proud I am of my mum and everything you've achieved in your life, and that I really think and believe you're a warrior, and that you've got a lot of strength, and I really love you. So that's one of my takes on being a warrior. I guess we can all draw parallels somewhere within it. So appreciate and love the warriors in your life. Namaste.